guest for today's CMT-Connect webinar, Daniel Keebler from accessibleGo.com. So just bear with us one more moment till we get him in.
Hi, Stella, and
There
everyone here.
Hi, Daniel. How are you?
I am doing wonderfully. Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. I know we had some issues with the video, but bear with us on that. We're going to be sharing some slides, and we're going to be walking everyone through this very cool website in a few minutes. But Daniel, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, thank you very much. So can you see the slide that I've just presented?
Yep.
Okay, great. So my name is Daniel Keebler, and I work at Accessible Go. AccessibleGo.com is a full suite travel platform for people with disabilities. And we basically saw that there are a lot of travel sites out there, and they do a great job for the general population. But for guests with disabilities at hotels or people going to specific travel destinations or visiting certain attractions in those destinations, the businesses are not being promoted in the right way to give information that allows people with disabilities to really, as a hotel, for example, to book the hotel that fits their specific needs. So for example, my wife is often using a wheelchair when we're traveling. So like this past summer, we went to a theme park, and the theme park's website said it was accessible, and that's all they said. So accessible can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people.
Right.
And when we got there, it actually was pretty accessible, but there was one ride that I was literally carrying the wheelchair while my wife gently walked up the set of stairs to the ride. So there's just like a disconnect between the information that's available to the general population and the information that really matters to people who have disabilities when it comes to travel. So Accessible Go is our way of trying to narrow that gap of information, and also to help people in terms of their actual hotel accommodations, which is what we'll show everyone how to do today.
Fantastic. We love it.
Yeah, so I'm going to actually, this is just a nice little intro slide, but I'm going to just show you real quick before we jump into the website walkthrough, which this is what the homepage looks like for accessibleGo.com. And our little tagline we have here right now says, making travel more accessible together. And we say together because we really are a community here. And I'm going to show you in a little bit some of the aspects of that community that come through accessibleGo.com. In addition to the ways we're trying to make travel easier for everyone, there's really a community here of people who are like-minded. They like to travel, or maybe it's the first time they're traveling since an injury or some sort of disability, and they want to get in touch with other people who have more experience and are actually really excited to share that experience and make someone else's travel experience so much better. So I just wanted to point that out about the platform, that it's also got a big community part to it. So just quick overview of what we're going to talk about. It's not going to take too long, but I hope you'll enjoy it. So first, we're going to go into the hotel booking aspect of accessibleGo.com, which is the most, that's the area of the platform that's the most developed at the moment. And then we'll go into booking cars, airlines, and cruises. And then we'll go into planning. Like if you want to plan a trip, we have resources that can help you do that. And then at the end, we'll talk about the community stuff that I just mentioned a minute ago. But the big takeaway points I just want to point out right now in terms of booking hotels through accessibleGo.com is that we have negotiated specifically for our community deals for select hotels. It's not for every single hotel, but there are quite a lot of deals available at any given time that are 10 to 60% off. And that's a really good deal because we've done internal research across over 70 US cities of different sizes, big, small, all across the country. And we found that our hotel deals are better than the public rates and public deals you'll find on traditional travel sites by about 96% of the time.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's a really big deal. It's only for people who have disabilities and their caregivers. And that's like a big takeaway. Like if you remember nothing else about Accessible Go, remember that this is the place to go to get hotel deals when they're available for the hotel that you'd like to book. And even if you don't find a deal for the hotel you're interested in, we have special request service that's completely free with every booking that you make on accessiblega.com. And I'll explain a little bit more about that when we get into it. And then, of course, we have started collecting reviews from people who have disabilities, and the reviews are specifically, they might mention, oh, the food at the breakfast was great, or some amenity, I really enjoyed the spa, but mostly the reviews are focusing on accessibility, which is what matters to our community. So it's another really great part of the booking side of accessiblego.com. And then the fourth part about the hotels is that for the top 30 US cities, we've actually collected a lot of data to show you what are the specific accessibility features you can expect at this hotel. So you'll see what that looks like in just a second. So I'm going to switch over from the slides. I'm just going to Zoom and make sure I do this correctly.
And yeah, I mean, we're super excited to have come across you. And I wanted to give a shout out to Kristen Galzenis, her other CMT-Connect moderator, who kind of put you guys on the radar for us and put you in touch with us. And we know, recently a lot of us have been traveling for the Phoenix CMT Summit that we just had. And, accessibility is a big factor in whether people feel safe enough and confident enough to leave their home and venture off to somewhere new and unexplored, and just having that peace of mind that there's other people out there looking out for you, and that there are these partners that are in agreement that accessibility should be a priority and addressed.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot out there right now, and I think obviously I'm like living and breathing this every day, so maybe I see it more than you guys do, but there's so much going on right now in the accessible travel space. There are startups, and there are, from a small company like a startup to the biggest corporations, are all starting to realize, oh my goodness, we really could be serving people with disabilities better in terms of travel, and they want to do it, and they're making the steps to make things better and better, whether we're talking about hotels or airports or cruise lines even. So I'm going to take you through, can we go through the different areas of the site now? Okay, great. So if you go to accessiblego.com, this is what you see right when you get here. And we've organized it by planning, reserving, and sharing. So in terms of booking a hotel, let's say we wanted to go to, I'm just going to pick Las Vegas because I think it's a cool destination to look at, and it seems to be pretty popular. Okay, let's pick February 14th. Why not?
Sounds good.
So if you notice, we've actually got this thing here that says search by hospital. And that's a feature that you only find on accessiblego.com. And we built that because we found a lot of our community members are obviously want people to travel for good reasons, but many people are traveling because they have to take someone to treatment in a hospital or a clinic.
Oh, wow.
So we have specifically the ability to search for a hospital by name. So if you wanted to search, let's say, I don't know, Mayo Clinic, which is in Rochester. So we have Mayo Clinic, Jacksonville East. So you could click that, and you would then suddenly be seeing all the hotels and motels in the area where the person would be doing their treatment.
It's a great feature.
Yeah, and it's just one example of how accessiblego.com is meant to be the place to do your travel planning when you have accessibility in mind. And that doesn't just mean like, oh, I need a ramp to get into the hospital or the hotel, but even things like that, like, well, can I do a search for accommodations based on a treatment clinic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've performed our search for Las Vegas. And you'll see here, we give you, let's look at the Excalibur. So that's a pretty famous hotel. We give you a few things you won't find anywhere else. And one of those is, like I said, the accessibility score from other users. And here you see a snippet of their reviews. So like this says, the hotel was wonderful and seeing that my needs were met, ... You could read more.
Lost you there, Daniel. We got.
What did you say?
Oh, we lost you for a second there. So accessibility score.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying that you get the accessibility score if there's, you know, obviously if people have reviewed a hotel, you'll see the score, and you get little snippets of their actual review, which just gives you the first line. And you have also a small snippet of the accessibility features for that hotel. So when you click in, you'll see all of the features that we've collected information about the hotel, but or it could be that they've entered the data themselves. But here you see they have service animals are permitted. They actually do provide the Excalibur wheelchair or mobility devices. That's pretty amazing. And they have wide doorways that are 32 inches, which is obviously important if you're in a scooter or a power chair, so that you can get through the doorway. So we could click on Excalibur and we would see more information. But I just want to point out, it says here, join Club Go and save up to 7%. So it's not actually 7%. That's just, we literally this week are in the middle of overhauling this whole thing that says join Club Go. And I am 100% sure that that is a typo. It shouldn't say the percentage. It should say join Club Go and save up to 60%. So if you join accessibleGo.com, then it would reveal to you the actual discount. If you're not logged in as a user, so you'll just see whatever the public rate is, which right now, for the dates we selected, is $131 per night. So we can do click on choose room, and it's going to show us the hotel's page with the information that's available. Okay, so here's the hotel, and again, so those features for accessibility we saw were only 4 of them, but there's actually what looks like 9, including roll-in shower, shower chair or mounted seat, bathroom grab bars, and lower hanging space in the closet. Like, these are all features that can totally make or break your hotel experience. Right. So that's why it's so important to have Accessible Go. And like I said before, so we have collected this information on over 3,000 hotels, which is actually just the beginning, because there's 50,000 US hotels. So we're just getting started on that. And that's why I said before, like, you should really just remember, like, the hotel discounts is, you get the discount if the hotel's got that deal going with us. It doesn't matter if we've collected the accessibility information on that hotel yet or not. You could still be saving money with the discount if they have a discount going. So that's, and then you just have general information that's important to know about the property, other amenities that might interest you in this hotel. They've got a casino, excuse me, they have a swimming pool, restaurant, etc. And the other thing is, okay, so for the dates I selected, they don't have any specifically, okay, so this is important also to know. Some hotels, they will separate their accessible rooms and their regular rooms when they put that information out to all the different travel sites, so including Accessible Go. Other hotels, they won't separate the accessible rooms when they send out the information to the travel sites. They just keep it all as, like, you know, our rooms at large. Right. And that might be the case with the Excalibur, that they haven't like designated separately in the system the accessible rooms. So instead, what you do is you just select whatever room does look good based on the price or whatever details are important to you. And then when you book, we'll click book now, you'll be able to put in a message to our team that says, hey, I just booked my hotel through accessibleGo.com, and I really need to make sure that I'm getting an accessible room. And you can make other special requests. So let's just quickly log in as an example. Oh, I can show you without even booking. So we have this special requests form. And again, this is like, you don't see this anywhere else on other travel sites, because we're the only ones catering specifically to people with disabilities. So after you've signed up, you put in your information, the next step is going to be, what are your special requests? So after you book the hotel, we will get this message with your special request. You could select, let's say you need a first floor room, you could select that. If you needed an ADA tub, you could choose that, or roll-in shower, hearing accessible room, or fridge for medication. So we selected these five choices just because those are the most frequently requested ones we've gotten. But if you needed to put in something else, you could put it in over here. I'm not sure what that might be, but yeah, we leave our staff sees the message. So whatever you're saying over here could be.
It could be like a room close to the elevator.
Yeah, that's a great example. We do get that one, like room close to elevator, please. So obviously we can't guarantee what the hotel will provide, but this is just like an extra, I don't want to call it like a safety net or something, but like it's because unfortunately there's so much information coming to the hotel from different places, and there's sometimes a new staff member or somehow like the customer's needs, the traveler's needs get lost in translation. So we came up with, let's come up with a way to reduce those problems so that people who have disabilities are going to stay at a hotel, the things they need are communicated clearly to the hotel. And and then they'll try to accommodate. I'm like, most of the time, okay, occasionally you get like a nightmare hotel or motel, but like most of the time, at least from what I see, the hotels want to accommodate. They want to help you out. They want to like make sure that you walk away feeling good. So this is really a win for everyone, because this is a way for the hotel to see like, okay, we have so-and-so coming and they really need to have a fridge for medication. Well, which room already has a fridge, or which room could we move a fridge into, etc. And then the guest will walk away feeling great, like they were accommodated really well. And that's what our whole goal is. So that's what happens when you book a hotel on Accessible Go.
So just to clarify, someone from your team will call the hotel once this form is filled out to verify and confirm that the information has been received? Or is it via
so the process is to first sign up for Accessible Go, then you book the hotel, and then our staff will see the requests you sent in with your booking, and we will pick up the phone and email the hotel and speak to either like a front desk manager or the general manager, whoever we can get a hold of that's in charge, and we will make sure that they understand what these needs are that you've just requested. So, and it's because you having Accessible Go do this, we have more experience making these type of requests. I think a lot of times people try to take it into their own hands, and they should. I'm saying, like, you have to be proactive. That's just part of being a family or an individual with a disability. Like, we all know, like, you have to be your own, you have to watch out for yourself. But since our staff is used to doing this, so we sort of know how to speak to the hotel and how to ask the right questions to so that things are clear, you know.
Reduce any margin of error.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's how the special requests work.
And I guess we'll see some kind of confirmation from you that the information's been translated to the hotel, correct?
Yeah. You get an email as soon as we've gotten in touch with the hotel. We'll email you with the email you have on the file with us, and we'll say, hey, thanks for booking. Just want to let you know that we spoke to so-and-so. We'll actually give you the name, if we can, of the person we spoke to at the hotel. We spoke to so-and-so, and they confirmed that your room is reserved, and it's going to be a first floor room.
Great.
So it's really helpful, because then if you get to the hotel and you're like on the 6th floor, you can say, hey, I was told that Joanne said, spoke with Accessible Go, and that they said it would be a first floor room. And despite our efforts, like, that type of thing has happened. But then, like, they'll say, oh, okay, yeah, oh, I do remember that. And let's see, oh, there was a mistake because of this. And here, we're going to accommodate you, properly. So let me just see here. Yeah, okay, so that's great. I mean, I think that's pretty much everything with the hotels. We talked about the special requests feature. We talked about how the rooms, I want to go back to choose another hotel if we can, just to show you the rooms that are divided, where they designate accessible rooms specifically.
Okay. And then just to kind of give some other notes there that you also have flights and car rental and cruises section as well. So it's not just the hotel. We'll be walking through those as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do that in just a sec. Well, if these ones are, yes, they're not separating it properly. Oh, here's one. Okay, so this one has, there you go. So for the dates we've selected, they have 16 rooms available, and they have one available that's an accessible room. So it's called the Jubilee Room. It's 2 queens, non-smoking, and has roll-in shower. So it makes it so much easier. I mean, again, like I said, maybe I'm just giving a rough guess, but I would guess like maybe half the time the hotel designates specifically the accessible rooms versus general rooms in their system.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when they do that, accessibleGo.com makes that easy for you to say, well, show me the accessible room so I can see what I'm getting.
Right.
And that's just really, really helpful. But you know what? Sometimes people don't want the accessible room because their priorities are different. Like they may say, you know, I can move about the room outside of my chair, and so for me, it's more important to have a balcony with a view so I can get fresh air and you know whatever than it is to have an accessible room. And in that case, they can book with us and still get the deals if there's a deal going and everything.
Okay.
So that's really everything with the hotels. We're gonna go through. I'll just do cars first. So renting a car on Accessible Go is something we're still developing, but you can totally use. I say we're still developing it just because, unlike with the hotels where you have a lot of accessibility mixed into the experience, with booking cars, it's very similar to what you get on other travel sites. However, the big difference is that we do still have the special requests. So we don't have a form when you book a car rental where you enter the special request, but our team will get in touch with you as soon as you make a car rental through accessibleco.com, and our team will ask you, like, do you need hand controls for the car you just rented? Is there anything else that we should be communicating to the rental company to make sure you're getting exactly what you need?
Right.
So that's the difference between renting a car on Accessible Go and any other site. And then in terms of flights, you can also book an airline flight. We don't have anything specific to accessibility. I guess people want to support the community, and so they are happy to still book book flights through Accessible Go, even though we haven't built in the accessibility features to it yet. It's obviously on our roadmap. That's why we have it here. And of course, every booking is like a huge support for growing the community.
Yeah, and I mean, most airports, when you request a wheelchair, they're pretty good about it. Or is that
yeah, our staff hasn't gotten involved in like making that request, but I know from personal experience, whenever we travel as a family, my wife she always makes sure to call the airline after booking the flight, and it's quite easy to ask for the I don't know what they call it. I don't know what do you know what that's called? That service. I mean, it's basically it's requirement based on the
I'm not sure
based on the regulations. But you just ask the airline. You say I'm going to need a wheelchair, and they usually have like curbside, or like right in the entrance off the curb.
They usually have people on standby, kind of with the wheelchairs.
Yeah, but you do. I mean, you are advised to make that request before arriving at the airport.
Definitely.
I mean, I don't think they'll like turn you away, but like if you don't want to sit there waiting, especially when we're talking about traveling, but it's such a good service, and like they'll take you anywhere you need to go to do your check-in. They'll take you there, then they take you through security. Sometimes you can even like get through security faster if you have like a helpful person who's wheeling you around. So yeah, I totally advise anyone to utilize that if they need it. And like my wife, she can walk, she can't stand in line in an airport. I mean, she could walk for like 5-10 minutes at a time, but then she starts to get in a lot of pain, and that can throw off her whole flight because she's been sitting in an airplane for however many hours. So for her to like be off her feet as much as possible during the navigating through the airport is critical. So
Mm-hmm.
don't be embarrassed if you're like, oh, well, I'm somewhat mobile. Like,
Right.
okay, but
But you're
you
also
have a
pulling,
disability.
you're pulling luggage with you and standing on lines, like you said. There's the element of the unexpected always
Yeah,
in an
yeah,
airport.
and having someone push the wheel, like, so when we do it, we have someone push the wheelchair, and
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm an able-bodied adult, I could push my wife, but I've got a child with me, and I'm carrying all our luggage, so
Right.
that's what it's there for. We usually do give the person who pushes us a tip. I don't know. That's what other people have also said they do. So I think it's a good idea. It's a nice way to say thank you if you're able to. Just give them, whatever it's appropriate. So that's hotels, flights, cars, and cruises. You can't yet book cruises through accessibleGo.com, but what we do provide you instead is a bit of a directory of cruise lines that we found offer some level of accommodations for people who have disabilities. And so you can sort through our 16 different cruise lines based on things that matter to you. Here's a list of different filters you can choose. And then we just give you the information to get in touch with them. But it helps. It's just like another way to help you narrow down your search. Because if you've never done a cruise, or you've done cruises, but you've never done it when you're focusing on accessibility, you kind of are like, oh, wow, I've never done this before from this perspective. So where do I start? And you can just come here to get a list like that.
Yeah, and they can bring on a little bit extra anxiety to cruises because it's not like a hotel where you can pick up and leave and go to another hotel. I mean, once you're on that ship, you're on that ship. So it's definitely good to
Right.
have a little bit more of, a specialized collection or group of lines to choose from that already are on the bandwagon.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's, um, I've never been on a cruise myself, but so that's a really good point. Like once you're on, you're on. So you do want
Yeah.
to make sure you're, but on the other hand, like from what I see in terms of working on Accessible Go, the cruises seem to like they just like the hotels obviously also want to accommodate you, but there's something about a cruise. I guess it's what you said, because like once you're on, you're on. That they do like we have people in our community who are like delivering oxygen tanks or delivering all sorts of equipment
Wow.
on board before, and like the cruise is like, oh yeah, we're used to that. We know what you're talking about, and they're familiar. So I mean, obviously each cruise line is different, but that's what I've seen. So, speaking of cruises, I wanted to jump in to our forum. So over here over share, we have writing a review, and
Mhm.
that's again like I showed you before. You can write a review about a hotel, and I guess there's two reasons to write a review of a hotel. One is because something went wrong, and you want to let the hotel know how to do a better job, and
Right.
that the hotel can use that to their advantage and really be like, well, look at these people are saying they really wish there would have been low pile carpeting in the room so that they could have an easier time navigating the room in a wheelchair. We didn't realize that. So that can actually help the hotels, especially if you speak nicely. And but the other reason is just to help other people. I'm saying like even one review on a hotel could be so enlightening to someone and
Yes.
let them know. It really makes a difference. So let's jump into the forum. Excuse me. And you and I were talking, Estella, yesterday about this, and you pointed out that what's cool about Accessible Go's travel forum is even though like there are a lot of Facebook groups out there, and I'm a big fan of Facebook groups. I'm a member of many different Facebook groups, but the downside of Facebook groups is that they're very disorganized, and you're kind of just thrown into like whatever
Conversation.
post
Yeah.
is that whatever conversation is at the top of the pile,
Right.
and if that's relevant to you, so you might join in. Um, but there's no real way to like organize all the conversations. So we are using a technology that allows us to keep things neat and organized, and therefore you can find what's relevant to you. So on the left in the travel forum, we have different categories. So we have hotel accessibility, air travel, cruises, gadgets, chairs and scooters, transportation, etc. We also have an ability to organize by geography.
Oh, very
Excuse me,
cool.
I'm losing my voice. Um, geography. I think mostly for now, it's people are choosing to organize based on the categories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's really cool. Like, so we were just talking about cruises. So experiences with accessibility on Royal Caribbean. That's a conversation that's going on. 2 days ago was the most recent post. You see, there's 11 posts over here.
Right.
And the question at the top was, okay, so this is a question that one of our staff members posted on behalf of someone who reached out to us, which we often post questions for them.
Okay.
So they say, I'm trying to organize a cruise for several couples who have a loved one with ALS. We've never sailed Royal Caribbean, but have heard great things. What have other people's experiences been with Royal Caribbean, specifically things like accessible features on the ship, accessible port excursions, and accessible
Mm.
rooms? So you get these great answers, and sometimes they're like super detailed. Like this person's says Royal has a dedicated special access department that is very helpful, and here she
Oh,
provides the phone
wow.
number directly to that department in Royal Caribbean.
That's amazing.
Um, it's just so helpful. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean when I said at the beginning, like this is not just a travel platform where you can book hotels and great deals. It is that, but it's also a community specifically focused on travel, and accessibility.
Right. It's very
So
encouraging to see when other people have made the trip successfully as well. It just gives you another level of confidence and um, peace of mind.
yeah, totally. I think that's a good point. Like, um, there's so many things that you have to prepare for and try to avoid having happen. So
Yes.
it's can it can be intimidating, but to
Right.
see like what did this guy say up here? The guy, they have like such a nice long comment here that I used Freedom of the Seas for a graduation cruise for my granddaughter and was not impressed at all. Okay, sorry for Freedom of the Seas, but you see like this is this person's experience, so
Right.
like that just opens up a whole perspective on whatever you're asking or the community. Um, and I just wanted to show you one more part of the forum that is really inspiring. So when I set up the forum, I created this thing called Welcome. Read this first because I wanted everyone to see this.
Mm.
And then it says Getting Started. Introduce yourself. So introduce yourself is a really cool thread in the forum where you get a chance to say who you are. So I said, hi there. We're so glad you're here. This topic is to introduce yourself to the community. I'll break the ice. My name is Daniel Keebler. I work at Accessible Go, and I love traveling, especially getting up close with nature. My wife has some mobility challenges, but it doesn't stop us from finding new adventures with the family. And here we are fishing in New York.
Yeah. Oh, I like your Yankee song.
So, thank you. So this has become the most popular thread in the forum,
Oh, wow.
and everyone loves. It's just because you want to connect. You
Yeah.
want to connect to other people who, um, when you have a disability, you sometimes think like I'm the only one who has this, or I'm the only one who faces these frustrations and these challenges, and it's just not true. There's
Right.
millions of people who are facing similar challenges. It's just we're all in our own little bubble. So
It's one of the
people like,
reasons we like to do these webinars too. It's just to bring that sense of community and other perspectives into the equation.
yeah, exactly. And like here, everyone's like uploading their photos of,
Yeah, look at that
um,
beautiful scenery too.
oh yeah, and sometimes you have great photos. Look at that. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And they'll sometimes say like, my name is so and so, and I have cerebral palsy, and
Right.
they'll explain like what's their situation, and then other people will like reply and be like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to travel with, and I also have that. So I'm glad to
Mm.
connect with you. This person has an amazing photo of their biker crew.
And then also,
So that's
remember you mentioned the blog as well, because it's not just, I mean, your directory right now is currently for domestic travel, right? But you also have writers who talk about their international travels as well, right?
yeah. So thanks for bringing that up. So let's get into the planning side, and that's where that ties in. So
Okay.
you can either um, look at our resources for planning a trip based on a city, and we cover the top 30 U.S. cities right now.
Okay.
Um, we have plans obviously to continue expanding, but just for now, so you should know. And I'll show you what the 30 cities are in a second. And then you can also look based on content that we have for ideas, and that's where the community blog that you mentioned comes in. So let me just go to the community blog because you just mentioned it. So we have we have articles that our staff have written or have gotten submissions from people in the accessible travel community. For example, inclusive parks that offer fun for all, something our staff put together. 4 surprisingly accessible trips across the U.S. Pardon me. We have a summer guide to accessible beaches. But over here on the left are the most recent posts in our community blog. So one of the posts recently, I think over the summer maybe, was Accessible Italy. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
And I gave him that title because Italy is, I mean, a lot of major cities in Europe, unlike in the US, you know, America has only been around in like the past 300 years or so in terms of like the span of human history,
Right.
where there's like major cities and civilization being constructed. But Europe has, like, if we go to Italy, you're facing cobblestones and you're facing like these ancient buildings that are not, they weren't designed for accessibility, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So that's why actually a lot of people have commented to me that they've traveled all over the world and they find that America's, the way that the buildings have been designed, also thanks to the ADA, is actually more like one of the most accessible countries. But it's don't stop seeking other countries, because there are tour groups. For example, this one in Italy, they're called Roman Italy Group, and they offer general tours for the general population, but they also specialize in accessible tours. And they won't let cobblestones or even off-road tourist spots stop them. I think they even have pictures of Tower Pisa.
Yeah.
Where's a picture they have? Oh, there's this great shot here. They literally hire people to carry you through like these like cobblestones, you know.
That's incredible.
And look how happy she is. She's like, she's having the time of her life. Like, you thought you couldn't go to Italy because you're like, well, of course they don't have like paved sidewalks and stuff everywhere I need to go because it's an ancient city in Rome. But you can. And here they are going on some off-road area as well.
Kudos to those guys, man.
Yeah. So our community blog gets submissions from lots of different people. Sometimes it's someone who has their own travel blog and they want to submit to our community blog, or sometimes it's like a tour group like this that wants to let everyone know that they offer these great services. And we obviously welcome your submissions.
Yeah, for anyone out there who has traveled or has some great perspective and stories to share, we definitely encourage you to contribute.
Yeah.
And how do we sign up?
Oh, that's a great question. So there is a link, I think, in the footer of every page that says, so here down in the footer it says community, and then the travel forum blog, write a review, write a blog post. So if you wanted to write a blog post or write several blog posts, you just click there and it takes you to a form, fill out your information, and that comes as an email to, I think, to me. Yeah, I do want to show you this thank you wall at the end if we have time. Okay, we're running out of time here, so let's go to planning by city because that's pretty important. So it says here, tip, articles and resources are available for the top U.S. cities and surrounding areas. So just if you want to know what we have available for, the top 30 U.S. cities covered are here. You can pull up this little bubble window. Atlanta, Austin, Boston, Charleston, Charlotte, Chicago, etc. So if you were to look up Atlanta, Georgia, click search. And here's what you get. So first at the top, you get, we have 3 flagship articles for each of these 30 cities, and the first article is the top 10 accessible attractions in Atlanta, top 10 accessible hotels in Atlanta, and a recommended 48-hour itinerary that our staff put together for the city.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then if you scroll down, we have this directory to help you plan your trip to Atlanta. So we have a list of attractions, equipment rental. So if people want to rent a Hoyer lift, or they need an oxygen tank, or they need whatever they're going to need, we have suggested places in Atlanta that they can rent that equipment from.
Awesome.
Transportation, tour companies, and caregivers. So let's just click transportation. So you get accessible vans of America, action limousines. You know, what you can see for yourself, but it's basically just a list of, it includes paratransit, like whatever the local provided paratransit is, not just like taxi companies.
Right. Super helpful.
Yeah, it is super helpful. So, so that's when you plan by city, again, you select one of the top 30 U.S. cities, and you'll get the same page for each of those cities. And I think that's it. I mean, we've covered pretty much everything. I just wanted to...
the membership portion of it.
Yeah, what's it like to sign up? So to sign up, you click join at the top, as you would find on any other general website. And you can sign up with Facebook, Google, or with an email. So I'm just gonna make a dummy account right now for our purposes. Joe at example.com. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's all my tests. Oh, it has to be a character long. So this whole sign-up process is literally, like I said before, we are changing it this week. So what you see right now will probably be outdated next week, and it's going to be a lot simpler than what you see here. But if anybody wants to sign up today, you're welcome to sign up right now, and this is how you would do it. So once you create your account with your email or Facebook or Google account, then we invite you to enroll in what's called Club Go. So just to make things simpler, we are actually getting rid of the whole phrase Club Go, and it's just going to refer to Accessible Go. We found that some people were getting confused between the two. But Club Go is the way we were referring to the hotel deals that we looked at before. And to get access to the hotel deals, you can either verify that you're eligible as a person with a disability or their caregiver by submitting a disability parking permit to your account.
Okay.
So if you have that, you do that. You just say, you know, I have a parking permit number, or I have a permanent license plate, and you just put in the information. If you don't have that, the easier way to do it is to do it by verifying you have association with a nonprofit organization that serves people with disabilities, such as Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation, which is, tell me if you see it. Here it is. Here you guys are, Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation. So you click that. First name, last name. So we didn't have last name during sign up, so you would just put Joe, I don't know, last name, Smith, whatever your last name is. And that way we can keep track and say, you know, we could always call up Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation and say, like, is Joe Smith someone that's associated with the organization? And you click submit. And that's it. Now you'll be able to access all the hotel deals that we looked at before. So when the updated sign-up process goes live in the next week or so, it's going to just be simpler. Instead of having to select a drop-down and then find the organization, because the list of organizations is getting long. So we are just making it easier. You just type it in. So you just type in Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation, and that's it.
Great.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, we've covered a lot. I hope that you guys are excited about traveling now that you've seen and gotten to know Accessible Go. And I just wanted to leave off with this wonderful page that you can get to from a link in our footer, like I showed you before. Well, it's not on this page, but it's called the Thank You Wall. And it's just messages, really inspiring, heartwarming thank you messages that our staff have gotten from our community members. Here's the Kopp family. They're a little bit famous, and they're wonderful people. They run an organization called Raising Wheels. They have 2 boys who are both miracles and wheelchair users, and they have this wonderful quote which you could read. And people just send they just send like really thankful, nice messages, and I think it's cool to go visit because if you have, like you said before, Estella, like there's sometimes intimidating, to like plan travel if you haven't done it before, or if you have and it was like a nightmare.
Right.
So it just shows like how many good experiences people are having.
Yeah, that's super encouraging, and it must be very rewarding to be doing this kind of work and to be part of such a valuable service and resource for the disability community. So congratulations.
Yeah,
on that.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
great work.
Well, I hope this was helpful for everyone, and I thank you so much. You guys are doing great work, and we're really honored that you wanted to do this webinar with us, and I hope that it was helpful for people.
Likewise. And then, yeah, if anybody has any questions after the webinar or once we've aired on YouTube, you can contact me directly at Estella, that's ESTELA, at hnf-cure.org. And I'll be happy to put you in touch with Daniel or answer your question if I can. So thanks again, and hope everybody has a wonderful Thursday, and enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. We'll talk soon. Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys. Take care.